joining us for the start of the Temple Challenge Cup. Syracuse versus Nereus, USA versus the Netherlands.
Yeah, fantastic few races we've got lined up to finish the day here. The conditions are calm, it's quiet, that headwind's really died down that was on earlier, and we see this one here. So we see Syracuse in the orange on the left of our screen, Nereus A making a lovely start, steered beautifully, tight to the islands, tight to the buoy line. We're looking at the Syracuse crew.
Across there from the stroke man, Declan 5, Syracuse in the yellow, in the orange. He's in the yellow boat, but he wants to have a little look to see where he is.
Yeah, and what he'll see is that the Nereus crew are pretty much side by side. If anything, Nereus have got a nice start there. They're just going to come out the top of the island now. You can see the flags flapping. The water's certainly a bit bumpy at the moment. There's just a little chop. The boats are moving outside of this march course on the other side of those booms, and you can see the waves there. And they're just going to affect the crews when they get through, if the waves can get through. But as it is, Nereus here, just looking to edge away. And I always think these Dutch crews in this Nereus one, they row quite smoothly. They look quite relaxed on the recovery, and they're firm in that drive phase. But it all just flows really nicely together.
Absolutely, and you can see their funny tops of these Nereus rowers. They actually sew their own little stripes on to their t-shirts, so it's kind of part and parcel of their history and one of their traditions of this Dutch university crew, and that's why they look a little bit ragged, Greg.
Yeah, possibly ragged in the t-shirts, but they're moving pretty smoothly together as we see them with those t-shirts, and they're making a nice little move here.
Lovely shot of the oars dropping into the water there, the yellow Syracuse. As you see the pain on their faces, they're a few minutes into this race. Their lactate acid in their legs is screaming, and they're side by side with the crew. You want to break a crew, you don't want to be neck and neck. We want them to be neck and neck. Great racing for us to watch, but tell you what, when you're in that crew, when you're neck and neck and you're side by side, it's not nice, Greg.
Well, it's what it's all about, isn't it? Being in the middle of side-by-side races, duels, as they call them in America, and the two crews are side by side. And as that view that we had from behind, you can see just how close they are by looking at that signal behind. It's got the barrier written on it. It's got the number 2 and the number 1, and it showed that the Nereus crew had a tiny lead back at that point. I think they've still only got a tiny lead as we're coming towards this camera, which is stationed more or less halfway along the course. And yeah, this is a duel, this is a match race, these are side by side. These rowers are going to be hurting, they're going to be feeling it, trying to keep their technique together whilst dealing with that lactic acid, that pain you talked about, Jess.
And these rowers have gone through 2 rounds already. They started racing on Tuesday, had a rest day yesterday, but they've raced Tuesday and Wednesday, and they're here now really battling it out on this course, and it is a battle.
Yeah, it really is, side by side here, and the coaches will be in those launches behind. It's Dave Rieshman, who has coached for 20 years Syracuse, and he's going to be looking across to this crew from the Netherlands, from Nereus, looking on the stroke seat there in the face of that stroke man, Norbert Boiler. He started rowing actually at William Borley's school, close to Marlow, or in Marlow, close here to Henley, but he's actually gone to university in Amsterdam. So he knows the River Thames, he knows these conditions, but he'll also know what it feels like to have a crew move away from him in this third quarter.
Syracuse made their move, and they've just moved out to about a length. What a move there. We had 200 meters with these crews side by side, and then we panned back and they've moved, they've cracked, and they've gone through. They're almost breaking clear water. A length is the size of the boat. We keep referring to a length of a boat, and they're right up on them now.
Well, the tough bit here is the third quarter, and these crews are just coming through the middle of that third quarter now. And as we can see, Syracuse have had a much better third quarter than Nereus at the bottom of the screen. And they have moved, it looks like a length, and they just look that little bit more cohesive. They look that little bit more powerful. You can see they're strong men, but they're also connecting that strength really well to just surging that boat on, and they're not doing much to slow it down.
there comes a point in a race, we see it time and time again, there's a decision made, there's a point made, and one crew made a decision to move there. Can Nereus do anything here? They're absolutely throwing everything at it. The grimace on the face there. Sam Gerst in the 5-seat. The blue lenses of the 6-man, Luke Rodenberg.
Yeah, you can see they're working hard. They've still got that sort of calmness around the finish, but almost as you look to the left there, you can just see it just looks like it's a little bit ragged with the blade work. The blades are just more apart than they were before. They don't look like they're moving as one in the way they did earlier. Look to your right, the crew from Syracuse just looks a little bit more calm and controlled, as you would kind of expect when you're in this dominant position they've got now. They're well into that third quarter, and Syracuse, with that dominant third quarter, I think Jess have really got hold of this one.
What a move. It's given them the breathing space here as they come into these closing stages. Just sit up to lengthen out. Rowing's about length and pressure and rhythm, and they've certainly got it here.
Well, Syracuse is certainly a university on the up. They had a good performance back there in the US. 2 of this crew were in the Varsity 8. They came 5th in the grand final over there. 6 of them were in the second Varsity. They've also had a good season. So they're a club, they're a university on the up. And this is a big step for them to make it through late here on this Friday night. This is a quarter-final. They'll be in the semi-final. They'll be racing on Saturday at Henley.
The crowd are absolutely loving it. See his orange blazers, hands in the air, cheers from the crowds in the stewards' enclosure. A huge slap and a congratulations from their coxswain there. Declan Fry in the stroke seat, screaming to the air as they take the win in the Temple Challenge Cup. Syracuse University, USA, over Nereus in the Netherlands, and a big wave to the crowd.
What a fantastic move that was from Syracuse in the second half. You think about what Nereus must have done early on, as they just got out there and were side by side. Really, that third quarter move was huge. As we see the support there, that S for the Syracuse supporters. They've enjoyed it. They've made the trip over here, and you can see what it means to them.